Unleash the lawyers. Burke Strunsky, Eric Schwartzreich, Louis Gaynor. First of all, to you, Eric Schwartzreich. After that chilling scenario, she wants a spa day, and the judge orders it. I don't believe that's covered under the Constitution.
Grace, you need to take a deep breath. Here's what's covered under the Constitution: a fair trial. We don't bring defendants in courtrooms in shackles and handcuffs. This is her day. She is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Now, even though this is a redo, it's a new trial, she's entitled to go into that courtroom and look presentable, not have the cherry dye hair job that she got in the jail. It might sound outrageous, but it happens. Justice is a balance. The victims need their day in court, and the defendant needs their day in court, and we need to make sure that she gets a fair trial, and if that means presentation and how she looks, and by the way, Nancy, she's paying for that hair job in that motion. So
Eric,
I know you're outraged by it, but she has a right to go in front of the jury looking presentable.
I'm asking you to stick to the facts, and if you want to make this a personal argument between me and you, I will have your mic cut and have you taken out of the studio. Now, you're saying that she's paying for the hairdo, but isn't it true, Burke Strunsky, that the jail is having to pay for 2 armed guards to watch her, to give her a private room, and to pay for everything associated with her spa day for her trial in connection with the murder of 2 defenseless people? Isn't that correct, Burke Strunsky?
That's exactly correct. Resources are being taken away to guard her, to assume this woman's going to bring in things that could be used as weapons, scissors and such. So they clearly are taking resources away from other areas of the jail.
To Louis Gaynor, defense attorney joining me out of Chicago. Louis, can you actually name the name of one case where a makeover has been ordered by a judge before a murder-related trial begins? And I'm not talking about when somebody gets a suit to wear to court, or presentable clothing, or they get to take a shower and comb their hair. I'm talking about a makeover. Please name one case, Louis Gaynor.
Nancy, I regret I can't name a single case where this has happened before, but that doesn't mean that the judge shouldn't allow it. Because at the end of the day, there's a reason we don't bring the defendant before the jury shackled. There's a reason we don't bring them in stripes. It's because that would make the jury assume they're guilty. We do the opposite.
I'm not arguing with you about them wearing prison clothes or shackles. I understand that. To Gary Christian, a special guest joining me tonight. He is the father of Shannon Christian. Mr. Christian, I'm a crime victim myself. And if I had thought the murderer of my fiance got a spa day before he came to court, I don't think I could have taken it, on top of everything else.
I agree.
What was your reaction when you heard about this, Mr. Christian?
Nancy, naturally, I think it's ridiculous. You know, the other defendants in these cases, they've been in prison just like she has, and when they come in the courtroom, whether I agree with their hairdos or not, it's not really that important to me, but, you know, they didn't come in with their head looking like somebody caught it on fire. She chose to do that. That's her personality. That's who she is. And what they're doing now is going too far, just like, in my opinion, most of the justice system. They go 10 miles for the defendant's rights, but the victim has no rights.
I want to go to Burke Strunsky, Eric Schwartzreich, and Louis Gaynor, our lawyers, joining us this evening. You know, Burke Strunsky, I've stood by and covered a lot of cases. I've tried probably more cases than I've covered. All we really have is our justice system. That's what sets us apart from every other country in the world. And when we see it fail, there's really nowhere to turn to. I mean, this can't be appealed. It's going to be done. And it is not guaranteed under the Constitution. Please explain what is guaranteed and what has been interpreted under our Constitution to be a fair trial. Certainly not a makeover.
Absolutely not. She should get the same treatment that every other inmate in that prison gets. She clearly had her hair dyed in prison. She can have the same hair dyed back to another color in prison as well. And I think this sets a slippery slope. It is horrible precedent. As you indicated in the beginning of your piece here, what's next? I mean, have a tailor come in, have a manicurist come in, have a an esthetician come in. I mean, at some point you have to say, no, everybody in prison gets the same treatment. We don't make these special accommodations, certainly for people that are accused of really the worst crimes that are out there. So I think it's a really bad precedent for this judge, and really an insult and a kick in the teeth to these families who have already suffered.
Out to the line, Karen in Texas. Hi, Karen. What's your question?
Well, first of all, I have a statement to make. For one thing, I hope some of this will get back to that judge. And my question would be, why on earth would a judge allow this? These people are monsters and probably look like it. So why make them visually more innocent looking?
Why is that, Lewis Gaynor?
I'll tell you why. Because the last thing we want in America is for courts to convict people based on the way they look. That's the last thing we want, because that would allow guilty people to go free and innocent people to be convicted. We want courts to convict people based on evidence, not based on hairdos.
Speaking of that, Lewis Gaynor, and to you, Eric Schwartzreich and Burke Strunsky, isn't it odd that on some of the counts, the original jury found this woman, Vanessa Coleman, not guilty, and they found her guilty on other counts? Now, all the guilty counts were thrown out because the original judge was high on drugs, but the not guilty counts stayed in place. Isn't that odd? So
Nancy,
it's like the defense is getting to have their cake and eat it too, Eric.
Nancy, the only worst thing than being as sober as a judge is a judge that's high, is a judge that's intoxicated. You're entitled to a constitutional right to have a fair and impartial magistrate. This judge who conducted this was high.
I agree. Nobody's arguing with you that the judge was high on drugs and the case should be reversed. What I'm saying is the not guilty stayed in place. The not guilty stayed in place. She's not getting retried on those counts. She's getting retried on lesser counts, and that is wrong.